I'm really, really happy to be here to be in the discussion, because I do believe that's really timely to have this kind of discussions. Yes, I'm Yanick from Kabakoo Academies, and we are building a Pan-African learning platform for holistic tech education. What we really believe is that we need to design learning experiences which might help young people to mediate the gap between local knowledge and what we can call high-tech knowledge, like AI and all this kind of advanced technologies. And in order to mediate that gap, we believe that we need to train people, we need to learn how to understand complex systems. We need to turn our attention towards new types of knowledge. For example, visual knowledge, embodied knowledge, which are still excluded from the classical education. And this is even more important in the African context, because many local way of knowing, many local way of knowledge have been excluded. We know the history, we know the legacy, and so on. And this type of knowledge has been excluded. And we really believe that today, if we want to mediate that gap and to build inclusive societies, we need to address that today. And that's
I think Yanick goes on mute, right?
I think he lost connection. It happened to him earlier.
Let's wait for 20 seconds.
In a new type, it takes a village. It takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to educate a child, to educate someone. So, and we really take that literally. And we, for example, work with the local communities. So, because we believe that you don't need to be to have a master's degree or a PhD to be an expert in something. So we all have knowledge to share, and we work with the informal sector. We also work with the formal sector, with companies, with institutions, and so on. So we really see ourselves building a multi-stakeholder type of learning institution, yes. And our hope is, of course, that we might be able to advance this idea with other partners. Like that's the reason why, and that's why I'm so happy that there's so many people, for example, in this panel right now, working on the same type of problems, because we believe that we need to advance this idea of learning in a holistic way. And maybe I will jump back to one of your first point, Pavel, if you allow me to do that. In the introductory statement of yours, you address the issue that globalization has been working more or less for us. Well, I want to challenge that idea. I doubt if you can say that this unilateral globalization we have been experiencing in the last decade work for people like me, for example. I would doubt that globalization work for me and for people like myself, because it was so unilateral. And the issue now is, how do we escape this unilateral globalization and to design new types of societies, new type of exchanges. And our response to that is to say, maybe we can design, because nowadays when we talk about knowledge transfer, for example, when I say knowledge transfer, everyone says, okay, it's from the north to the south. But we can also have knowledge transfer from the south to the north, right? There are still many ways of knowing which are being exploited, and that's why we're trying to, right? That's what the discussion we are trying to get, right? So I will stop here, and of course, I would be more than happy to jump again in discussion if you want me to explain anything or to give more details.
Yes, Yanick, because I understand you're working on primarily developing skills for the transforming economy. So you're working quite a lot with future skills or future-oriented skills, really highly advanced for the distributed economy, for its fourth industrial revolution, and really engaging project-based learning quite a bit. We're trying also to solve local problems with groups of your learners. Is that correct? So you kind of bring in that agenda as part of your story.
Yeah. So thank you so much for adding that, Pavel. Yes, we work only with problem-based learning. So every paper in our learning campus is solving a problem, and this is actually when I talk to when we talk to people nowadays, and we present Kabakoo, it's okay. We do our methodology is problem-based. It sounds so innovative because it's our most innovative schools nowadays. They will do problem-based learning, but for us, the inspiration was actually traditional ways of learning in Africa. Okay, so it's not because we have read the state of the art pedagogical models and say, okay, problem-based learning so is the new kid on the block. No, our inspiration is the traditional way of learning. The traditional ways of learning in most African societies were problem-based, and also they were ecosystemic. So the people will learn not only, for example, how to construct tools for agriculture, but they will learn also what's the meaning of the tools in ecosystemic thinking. So they will learn, for example, okay, how should the peasant use my tools? So it was really ecosystemic. It was that's the reason why this again the saying it takes a village. That's what's really the idea, and that's what we are trying to implement. So nowadays it sounds like modern. It sounds like okay, we are working along the line of the state of the art pedagogical research or learning research, but our main experience is mostly like these traditional ways of doing. Just to be clear, we are not saying that tradition or culture is the best. No, that's not us saying. Just to be clear, we are not saying that we need to go back to any type of romanticized traditions or past. No, that's not what we're saying. But what we are trying to do is actually to give a chance to different types of knowledge to emerge. And recently, just using this example, and then I give the floor back. Recently, I was talking to a journalist, and the question was, she asked me a question about the literacy. In Mali, for example, the literate adult are less than 50% of the population. So how do you do that? How do you deal with that? And my answer was like, okay, what is literacy? For example, I'll give you an example. Some of you might know the African fabrics, African textiles, which are famous. There are many African textiles which are quite famous. And most of the time on these African textiles, you will see some symbols, some characters and so on. And those characters is writing. Some people can read it. And I'm a PhD, I have a PhD, but I cannot read that. So for them, I am not literate. So, and those people, they might be able to read that, and they might not even have like high school diploma, but they are in this writing system, they are more literate than myself in my PhD. So that's just another example to make sure, to illustrate the need to give give a voice to different type of knowledge. I just wanted to give a quick comment about how we understand or how we see the tension of scale, which we just discussed. Well, at Kabakoo, we believe that maybe we need to rethink our conception from of economic institution, of economic organization, and we say that we train people in small scale economics. So, and if we look at the issue from the perspective of setting up small scale decentralized structure, this is how we maybe can lessen the tension of building up massive large scale institutions. And this is for those of you who are interested in it, you maybe can read about the history of the internet. Actually, the internet was designed for being a small scale and decentralized venture. And yes, a capitalistic idea then led to the emergence of one large scale, one big internet. And we are going to, and our inspiration is actually the small scales, because in the African context, we don't have the structure, the infrastructure for building up large scale based industrialization. And we believe that we don't even need that, because we all know large scale based industrialization, those are the ideas from the early capitalism. Nowadays, we have the structure, we have the ideas, we have the knowledge how to build a small scale bottom-up society, and that's where we try to go with our learning model.